Well, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks to everyone for coming and spending some time with us this afternoon and our Sunset Beach police officers and department to learn about an important topic that we are all hearing about on the media, with our friends, with our family every day. Before we get started, I do want to go over our agenda for the day. We're going to go through the Pledge of Allegiance, do some introductions, and then our esteemed police department will do their presentation. We've also built in some time for questions and answers and also ending comments. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I just want to take a minute and recognize a few folks that have been really instrumental at helping pull this together for us this afternoon. We could not have done it without a number of individuals. First, I'd like to recognize the Health and Safety Committee. When I say your name, please stand up. My name is Karen Scher. I'm the chair of the Health and Safety Committee, and we have Miss Sandy Brown, Mimi Schuler, and Kathy Muth. I'd also like to thank Jack Pascalugo. We could not have done this without him today, helping us with putting our slides together, keeping us organized and timely. Also, Debbie Cornell, thank you for all of your help in the office, all of your support. Candy Fowler, where are you? Over here. Thank you for all of your support and help on social media with getting the word out. And then also to our esteemed board, thank you as always for your support in allowing us to bring some of these presentations, both today and in the future, to the community and to our family members here. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we'd like to welcome our detectives and sergeants today. Detective Sergeant Milosar, thank you, Detective Phillips, and Detective Covell. Thank you for spending the afternoon with us, and the show is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, thank you for all coming out today. We just wanted to take a little bit of time to just address a couple problems that we've had. How many people here have been a victim of a scam, seen scam emails? I'm sure. Yeah, so it's really pretty frequent. So we really just wanted to address the problem so we don't have any more problems. That is the biggest problem that we have here in Sunset Beach by far, is our scams. That's our biggest financial loss for the town. Bitcoin and gift cards, no good. So anyway, well, number one, if it's too good to be true, right? That old adage, it really is true. Number two, communications. Pay attention to the address of the seller, be it the physical address or the email address. Be wary of odd types of payments, gift cards, wire transfers, PayPal, gift coins, cryptocurrency. The Bitcoin machine, that's real investors in Bitcoin don't use a Bitcoin machine. By far, most of our scams that involve Bitcoin goes through a machine in Food Lion, Minuteman. I think there's one at the Royal Farms now, but you get the idea. And the phone. If anyone puts any pressure on you, anyone tries to keep you on the phone and insists, stay on the phone with me while you go to your bank and withdraw money, they are not acting in your best interest, right? They want to keep you on the phone because they want to ensure that you're taking the money out of your bank account so you can send it to them, you know? If it's a legitimate purpose, hang up, call someone, you know, us, you know, you get calls from government scams. You have warrants, you didn't pay your taxes. They have no problem with you calling them back. And never reply to odd emails that you don't recognize, and don't download their attachments. When they do that, it puts something in your computer, and that's when you get the screen that says your computer's not working. You need to call the 800 number, and it goes downhill from there. I'm going to turn it over to Officer Cavelli.
Hey, everybody. So with the common scams, some things that are going to pop up that we're seeing, I'm going to go through them on the slide here, but you've got your romance scams, which are easy targets because all of your personal information is already out there on that website that you're using. You've got government imposters, as Mike was just talking about. One of the things that we don't do is we don't warn people ahead of time that they have a warrant and we're coming to arrest them. So that's usually a hint. Also, you can't pay your way out of it. We don't collect money. All the time people ask us, hey, thanks for unlocking our car. Can I give you a 20? No, not one of us accepts that. And we're definitely not going to accept money to keep you out of jail. If there's a warrant, the time you'll find out about it is when we put you in handcuffs. So lottery scams. Hey, I've got these lotto tickets. They're a winner. You can buy them off me. Don't do that. Investments we'll cover a little bit later, and tech support we'll cover a little bit later with actual images from cases that we've worked for things that we don't want you to get involved in. A lot of the times, these other things that pop up, they can seem legitimate at the time, especially grandchild and injured family member scams, where you'll get a phone call from somebody that you can't understand what they're saying. They're really hurt, and then somebody else jumps on the phone and says, hey, I've got your grandson here. He was involved in a car wreck. He was driving while impaired, and he's really injured someone. They need money now at the hospital to get him out of this charge. That doesn't happen. We don't do that. Law enforcement agencies don't do that. Lawyers don't do that. But that will be something that you could potentially see or hear about. Fake checks and online shopping we'll cover a little bit later. And charity scams. Charities, they to keep their 501s, they can't just cold call and try to muscle people out of their own money. That's not how it works. And computer security, that's another one that we'll cover a little bit later. So specific ones, some examples that you guys can see. Fake websites that look real. If you look up there, it looks like the same website back to back, right? Anybody spot the difference? Right, it's one letter off. So when you've got something that you're trying to look up on Google, you don't know the information, and you're actively trying to look it up, and it looks legitimate, but it's not, and you click on it, well, now you've started that rabbit hole process that you're going down and that they're trying to get money out of. So you got to be careful of what you're actually looking up. And as Mike alluded to earlier, be careful of where you're getting contact from. You might get a scam email from the one on the right thinking that it's actually Bank of America contacting you. But if you really look at it, you can see the difference. It's unfortunate we have to point this out, but they're trying to do anything they can to get money from you. How many of you guys travel, right? You go to the airport? Yep. Free public Wi-Fi, right? You see it and you're like, yay, that's exciting, right? You click on it. Well, unfortunately, everybody that's also on public Wi-Fi can see the things that you're trying to access, and they're trying to get your money, right? So when you go on public Wi-Fi and you don't use like a VPN, or if you're hearing acronyms that you've never even heard of before, it's probably not something that you're using or that you're aware of. I don't use one either, but I try to stay off of this stuff because they can access your emails, your bank accounts, Apple Wallet. If you are somebody that uses your phone to pay for things and you just tap it on the screens, I don't even do that. But if you do that, all that's available when you're on public Wi-Fi. So you might be excited, but what's actually happening is every single person on that public Wi-Fi is looking over your shoulder at all your stuff. You don't want that to happen. One way to avoid that when you go and travel places, turn off your internet on your phone. Just turn off the Wi-Fi feature so it doesn't ask you, would you like to connect to this Wi-Fi? If you just turn it off, then you don't have to worry about it. They can't get through your firewalls on your phones if you're not hooked up to their systems. And then, so I keep clicking over here. If you're online shopping on free public Wi-Fi, you might as well give them the house, because if you're like that shows, if you're actively using your credit cards while you're at the airport, while you're on, the train or wherever, at football stadiums, they can see all of those purchases, and now they've got your credit card information. That's why I suggest just turn off the Wi-Fi feature on your phone when you're traveling. It's a lot safer for you, and they can't see what you're doing. So Mike's going to jump on for IRS.
Okay, the Internal Revenue Service scams. So this is going to get popular over the next couple of months. They will never ask for your personal or financial information over email, text, or social media. IRS always does it by mail, by good old-fashioned snail mail. They will never contact you by phone to demand a payment. And they will never ask for credit card numbers over the phone or require a payment without allowing you to question it or appeal it. We've had IRS scams in the past. Usually you see them around October, a little bit before October, because of the when you delay your payments. Sometimes we see them a lot of time right around Christmas. Again, they ask for Bitcoin and gift cards. No one's ever paid their taxes with a gift card. Remember that. It's a gift, right? And trust me, the IRS isn't giving you any gifts, right? They'll also threaten. I actually had this happen to me a few times. It's kind of fun. They threaten you with arrest for non-payment. So if you don't pay it, we're going to come down and we're going to arrest you. We're going to take you to jail, and then we're going to make you buy that gift card.
And that's the number to call for fraud activity with the IRS. There's going to be a slide at the end with a bunch of agencies and phone numbers for you to take a picture of or write down if you'd like. So moving forward, charity scams. This one's near and dear to my heart. Unfortunately, it does happen. So when you begin to ask questions about somebody that's alleging to work for a charity, they're not going to be able to provide you with proofs of their tax deductible status or federal tax ID numbers. They're just not going to know those answers because they don't work for that charity. They won't be able to tell you, oh, here's how your money is going to be used that you're giving us. So they're very confused up there, right? That's them. But what they will do is they're going to push you to donate immediately. They're going to ask you, again with the gift cards, right? Hey, this is the so-and-so charity. I'm really excited for this opportunity for you to help out all these children in need of Christmas gifts. How about a $250 gift card today? That's what they're going to do right away. And what they're going to do to confuse you is they're going to thank you for a pledge you didn't make, right? They're going to say that you've already agreed to donate. Thank you so much for your pledge. But you didn't do that. They're trying to confuse you. They're trying to make sure that they're in control of the conversation and that you're not. So before you donate, you can always check out on the charity to make sure it's real. These are 3 different websites. They have all of the active charities that are reputable. And if I see somebody taking pictures this time, I'll leave that up there for you. But unfortunately, there are people that purport themselves to work for charities like the Make-A-Wish Foundation or St. Jude's. It's awful. It happens. Don't fall for it. And those are some steps that you can take to help prevent that from happening. Tracy's going to take it away with cryptocurrency.
Please raise your hand if you've ever heard of pig butchering. Well, it's not this pig. Have you ever received a text from a number or somebody that you didn't recognize? We all have. I received one just last week that said, "Hey, I hate that I missed you on Tuesday. Can we have lunch soon? I'll buy." Well, that got my attention. If they're buying, I'm in. They were trying to start a conversation with me and get me sucked into some type of a friendly relationship so that they could start gaining my trust. Victims in this situation are referred to as pigs by the scammer, who leverage fictitious identities the guise of potential relationships and elaborate storylines to fatten up the victim into believing that they're in a trusted partnership. The scammers then refer to the butchering or slaughtering the victims after the victim assets are stolen, causing the victims to financial and emotional harm. In many cases, the butchering phase involves convincing victims to invest in virtual currency. The initial contact with the victim. A scammer typically makes initial contact with a potential victim through text messages, direct messaging on social media, or other communication tools and platforms, usually under the guise of accidentally reaching a wrong number or trying to reestablish a connection with an old friend. A scammer typically makes scammers may communicate using instant messaging services or text messages, professional networking sites, social media, and dating sites. And there are so many, and there are even more of these than what's listed here.
Too many for us to keep up with now. All the different types of social media apps that you can be engaged on. All right, so here's some other ways that you might accidentally encounter the scammer themselves. These are going to be screenshots from cases that we've worked. Anybody ever seen one of these before? Right? Which one? The one on the bottom with the FBI? Yeah. Yeah, my little brother freaked out when he saw that one. He said, I didn't do anything. I was just trying to go on my email. No, these might look scary. All you have to do, in most cases, X out of it and turn off the computer and restart it. Please, though, the ones that have phone numbers on them, do not call them. If you call that phone number, all you're guaranteeing is that one of us is going to end up at your house to take the report and how much was lost, right? These people are not here to help you. They come up saying, warning, with a phone number, your Microsoft Office, or whatever it is that you use, is not working or has been locked out. We're here to help. Call this phone number. It's not legitimate. If you don't X out of it and you call them, we're going to be your third call, because the second call will be the bank. Tell them, this just happened to me and here's how much I lost. So we can't stress this enough. If somebody is telling you that you've screwed up and you need to contact them to pay to unlock your computer, unlock your computer. It's not locked. X out of it, turn it off. It's not real. None of these are real. They're all pictures that we've encountered that are just somebody trying to get your money. Okay? So here's the things that they're going to do. These are all red flags, okay? So when they're trying to help you, they're going to be asking you to pay them, all right? They're going to be requesting that money from you. So ways you can encounter them is clicking on things, installing applications. Remember that slide a couple slides ago about when you get an email and we told you don't download whatever it says in the email? Once you do that, that's going to prompt them to get in touch with you. If you've allowed somebody to remote access your computer, that's a way that they can get all of the information that's on your hard drive into theirs. Now, there is legitimacy to remote accessing computers, though. We have to do it all the time when we have new software that we have to get updated or downloaded. We'll contact the company ourselves because we have the phone number that we're calling. But on that other slide, when you contact the number that says that you're locked out of your computer and now we're going to remote access it for you to unlock it for you, well, now they've just looked at all of your bank account information. They're also, while they have you on the phone, they're going to keep it quick. They want you to be confused. They want you to feel that there's a sense of urgency that you need to give us this money now. They don't want to delay things. They don't want 5-6 phone calls back and forth, hours and hours of time. They want it quick. They want to get your information. They want to get your money, and then they want to get out of there. But just remember, you don't know them, right? Ignore it. It's unsolicited communication. The people that come up to your houses and want to sell you something, you usually just shut the door in their face, right? I mean, that's what I do. But think of this as the same thing, right? If you're on the internet and you don't want this person talking to you, you didn't ask them to, well, treat it like the same thing, right? It's no solicitation, except all you have to do is click the little X. That's what we're looking for. And just remember, no matter what, if it's too good to be true, it is. If the other person on the computer says that they are my friend, my dear friend Casey, who used to work and was on a TV show Below Deck, just remember you're actually talking to this guy. Okay, it's not going to be Casey. It's going to be this guy right here. It's not who it says it is. Okay, don't.
All right, investments, the sales pitch here. So what they'll do is they'll gain your trust, right? We see this from dating sites. Sometimes it'll come in from a financial, maybe a financial forum on the internet, maybe a Facebook group. But what they'll do is they will gain your trust. They'll talk to you. They will know what they're talking about to a degree. And that's when they spring that, you know what, I have a pretty good investment for you, right? I don't want everybody else to know about it, though. Usually it's Bitcoin or some kind of cryptocurrency. And then, you have virtual currency websites. So what they'll do is they'll send you to a website, and that is nothing more than a website to capture your information. They're going to tell you, go visit this website, log in, provide your name, birthday, your bank account information. We're going to do you a favor. We're going to take your money out every month, and we're going to invest it, and you're going to make a lot more money. What they just did is they got your personal information, your email information, your bank account information. What they will do is offer the promise of greater returns. That's what an investment is, right? You want your money to make money. Sometimes they'll actually give you money. We've had a couple here where investing in Bitcoin, right? They will literally say, okay, you know what? You made $1,000 and someone asked, well, I want $300. Can you show it to me? And they did it in good faith just to test the water to see if it was legit. And they did send them more money. So they did turn a profit. Now our victim is thinking, hey, this is legit. I'm going all in. And next thing you know, real money, tens of thousands are going in there. And again, it'll show, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I mean, whether or not it's a great rate on a HELOC or a second mortgage or some sort of investment return, be extra careful, be wary.
Piggyback off of Mike here. According to the FBI, just some statistics for you. The victims report being directed to make wire transfers to overseas accounts and purchase large amounts of prepaid cards. We're going to show you some of those in a little bit. The use of virtual currency is an emerging method of payment to watch out for. And then the scammers even allow victims to withdraw small amounts of their investments, known to liquidate their holdings in tax-advantaged accounts or take out home equity lines of credit or HELOCs. These are all happening right now, even second mortgages. So these are things just to be careful of and that you don't want to get caught up in. So once you are involved with that scammer and you hit the point of no return, it's the investment is going to slow, or it's going to stop, or it's going to run out, it's going to stall. The scammer is going to be using more aggressive tactics to get you to make payments to their accounts. That's when they turn into Mr. Nice Guy and they become Tony Soprano and they want the rest of your money, right? So at that point that you've encountered the Tony Soprano type, that's when you might as well understand that you're going to lose everything that you put in that initial bid to begin with. That's a good way to lose it all.
Okay, so I don't think we've mentioned this. It's very hard for us to get your money back. There's two things. It's hard to identify who's actually doing it. We can't trace phone numbers the way we used to with voice over internet. That phone number could be anywhere. It might say 910, but it could be anywhere in the world. There's no requirement to provide any ID when you sign up for some of these voice over internet phone services. Same thing with email addresses, even some bank account IDs. It's very, very difficult to track it. So if we can't even identify you, the odds of us getting your money back are actually pretty slim. And here's why. We're going to start off here on the left. When you go and they tell you to put your money into a Bitcoin machine, here's what happens. And this is just a small representation. Your money goes in here. So that's you. You send it to this person. Then just like the old commercial, they told two friends, they told two friends, they told two friends. That's exactly what happens. It gets divvied up in different denominations. And then it winds up filtering back to the actual scammers through a multiple different ways, multiple different routes. The problem is with Bitcoin, it's peer-to-peer, it's person-to-person. It's like me handing you money, right? Without going through a bank. So the only way for us to even try to get your money back is if it goes through, they refer to as a point of vulnerability or an exchange. The scammers know this. So what they do is they keep going through these different channels and they keep going and going and going until it's so convoluted we have no way of really tracking it. And then they go to a legitimate service, and then they take the money out that way. So you see, that is just a small representation. We followed one not too long ago that it was at least twice that size. And they always change up the amounts. They divide the money in half here, maybe by a third over here, maybe even bounce it back. Imagine that, but commingled with other people's money, right? Which makes it even that much harder. You're seeing one representation here. Imagine that being 500 people.
Here's some other types of ways that they're going to get you to give them information. Detective Phillips alluded to it before, the accidental text on purpose. These are actual texts from somebody that sent it in knowing it was a scam, and they started to play with the person. So as you can see here, this guy's trying to even tell them, hey, you have the wrong number. The green would be the intended victim who was smarter than the suspect, who's the black. And he's saying, for the Seinfeld fans here, what's your name? I'm Lily. He says he's Art Vandelay, right? So the George Costanzas of the world, right? So this guy was on top of it. He knew what was happening from the get-go, so he identified himself as somebody fake just to play with this person. But it turned bad real quick because the Lily person sent him an app to install. That's not a real app. That's going to be what they use to phantom your information. And once he clicks on that, he goes from the George Costanza Art Vandelay version to unemployed George, right? So all his money's gone. That's an actual way that somebody tried to get in touch, and it was that just, hey, I don't know you, but it turned out to be pretty bad for them. So Detective Phillips.
So what do you do if you fall victim to a scam? First of all, you need to call your bank, shut your accounts down, notify your financial institutions that your personal information and account information has been compromised. You see over here, he says free lunch. And if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Then you come see us, file a police report. Or you can call us at 910-579-6297, or you can call 911. Monitor your credit report with the 3 credit bureaus. We've got Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Is that it?
And these are going to be some general crime prevention tips to help you. You want to protect your property, both physical and financial. So one of the big things that we're going to stress here, please don't leave your valuables in your cars, especially if you leave your car unlocked. All right. And I don't mean to poke fun, but I've said this before in my own neighborhood where I live. The people that have reported their handguns being stolen because they left their car unlocked, they can guarantee that that firearm is now going to be used in a crime. It's 100% at that point, because now it's a stolen gun that has no idea where it went. If you're going to lock, or if you're going to leave stuff in your cars, please lock them. It's just a different day and age. Same thing you do with your house, right? Lock your house up. Lock your car doors, especially if this is you and you've got your phone and your wallet sitting out on the back seat. Just hit the lock button on the car. Help us by helping you. If you guys keep your year-end documents, I do this with my own father. At the end of the year, we'll take all his information, we'll shred it. It's a good way to make sure that you don't accidentally recycle things that people go through, and now your year-end tax returns are somebody's fair game with your social security numbers on them, right? So use a shredder. Burn it. Use it at a fireplace. How many of you have a wallet that looks like this, right? If that's your wallet, you definitely want to think about lightening the load a little bit. The laughing would indicate that you've seen somebody with a wallet like this before. My dad's one of them, right? If you can take some stuff out, do it. All right? It's really important, especially we're talking to the crowd that does these things, and I don't mean that, but the overseas traveling to other countries, when they see a bulge there, if that's just an invitation to say, oh, that's mine, right? Limit what's in there. It's true, unfortunately. And if you're going to be going away or if you've got important things, go to the mail post office yourself. We have one, luckily, right here over on Seaside Road. It's very close by. It's definitely helpful for making sure that important things get sent out from you directly instead of leaving it in your mailbox and flipping up the little card. And then for things to protect your information, try, please, to use secure passwords that are not family members' birthdays. All right? One of my own parents, again, comes back to him as the same 2 numbers in his password for everything. Well, unfortunately, he's using the grandkid's birthday, and it doesn't help out because everyone knows it now. But that's what I'm saying. You want to come up with things that somebody wouldn't necessarily guess right away. Don't use your birthday. Don't use your wife's birthday or your husband's birthday, the grandkids. Sequential numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't do that either. We don't want to write down PIN numbers or social security numbers on checks or cards or anywhere really if you can help it. But leaving that kind of information out will be most beneficial to people not being able to hack into it. This is another one. When you get these images, don't answer the phone, right? If you don't know who it is, it's like we talked about with the solicitors. Once you hit the green button and now you're on the phone with them, they're going to keep you on the phone for as long as they can before you hang up, hopefully, right? If you don't know who it is, don't answer it. Same thing that you would do if they show up to your house. If you want to sign up with the Do Not Call registry, you can do it with your house phones or your cell phones. I think you have to do it once every 3 to 5 years, though, because for some reason, once you time out on that list, they start calling like that, and I just had to renew my phone number. But that's the phone number to call for the Do Not Call registry, and you can get yourself cleared on that for your cell phone. I'm going to leave that up for a second because I see some people writing that down. It's a good one to call, and like I said, just keep up to it. You want to do every 3 to 5 years to make sure your phone number is not being hammered by these pesky unknown callers all the time. Or the new one when it says scam call. Like your phone's even telling you, hey, don't answer it. But that's it. 888-382-1222. That'd be the phone number. And Jack said all this is going to be available afterwards too, right? Okay. Are we okay if I move on? Okay, great. So one more for me, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Here's some ways that you can help monitor your information. You can sign up, Tracy said it before, with Experian, Equifax, those credit reports. But you can also check your own statements and transaction histories. I do this regularly. Most of the online apps for bank accounts now have this available for you where you can just click right on transaction history and it'll show you everything. I like to do that at least once a month to make sure that somebody in Wyoming isn't using my credit card for something, right? It's a good way to keep up to date on things. You can also see it printed out. That's just an example of one. But make sure you know what the charges on there are. Like I said, you can order annual credit reports and call businesses if your bills are late for whatever reason. Once you make that contact, you're in charge of it. But if somebody is able to see that your bill payments are not on time and they contact you, well, you don't know who's on the other end of the phone anymore. That's why you want to be in charge. Always be suspicious. That's how we think. Don't cash unsolicited checks. If you weren't expecting this check, you don't know what it is. A lot of the times the scam with the unsolicited check is that I've sent you $500, right? It's got a phone number in there for you to call. You deposit it. I say that wasn't meant for you. I need you to send it back. Well, that money was never in your account to begin with, and now you've just given me $500. That's why we don't That's why we don't want you to deposit checks that you don't even know about in the first place. You know, you think it's your lucky day, but you just lost that money. If you can if you can avoid using a debit card and you have a credit card, better, because somebody spoke earlier about this, but credit cards are usually really good about indicating, hey, was this you? This is a really weird charge out in Phoenix. And you're like, no, and then they decline it, right? Debit cards don't always have that quick response. So that's why we prefer you guys use those. And then again, the door and phone solicitors, just like you would somebody coming up to your house to say, hey, I'm going to, let's check out your roof. Well, we can put a new roof. I don't need a new roof. Get out of here. Same thing with the phone. Don't speak to them on the phone either. That's once they've got you talking to them, you're hooked, and they're going to try and keep you as long as they can. Mike's going to finish this off, and we'll have time for questions afterwards.
Alrighty, so by now you should have the idea that there's a ton of ways people are out there trying to separate you from your money. There's also a few ways that you can protect yourself, right? The red flags we showed you, the sense of urgency, right? Gift cards are a red flag. Bitcoin is a red flag. Things that they don't want you to trace, keeping you on the phone, right? We also have the one with the grandchild scam, or my mother-in-law got a phone call that I was in the hospital. She did the right thing. She hung up, she called me, but she didn't come get me. I mean, she didn't want to pay the bill, right? But that happens every day, believe it or not. So understand, these scammers are very skilled. This isn't someone on their kitchen table or in a basement somewhere. These are entire campuses. They're corporations, if you will, of people who are trained in sales. They're trained in objection handling. They're trained to keep you on the phone. They can almost anticipate what your next question or response is going to be. So, with that in mind, there are some things, like I said before, gift cards, Bitcoin, the sense of urgency. This has to be done now. They'll try to get you into a frenzy, and they'll try to keep you on the phone, especially when you go to your bank. You'll also get these calls, usually Monday through Friday during business hours, when you can actually get to your money. Banks are closed on weekends. So they want to be able to get a hold of you, usually early, so you can have plenty of time to get to your bank, take that money out, and get it into a Bitcoin machine. You could set up fraud alerts. Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Social Security, and then there's the IRS phone number, but good luck with that sometimes. So hopefully you had some things you could take away from today. If there's one more thing I could point out to you. When you get an email that's supposed to be from your bank or from your credit card or wherever it might be cautious. I had one not too long ago when it said sent to you, and in small print, 34 others. So if they're sending me and they're questioning about my bank account, why did it go to 34 other people? That is just a blast scam email, right? No good was going to come out of that. So hopefully you understand a little bit more about how people are trying to separate you from your money, what you can do to protect yourself. Don't always trust numbers that you Google on the internet. We had someone not too long ago try to wanted to Google Amazon's number. They Google it and it wasn't Amazon. It was a fake website to capture your call. And then, okay, well, there's a problem with your account. You need to settle up your account before we can ship your item. And that's how it starts. They'll start off with small denominations. You owe us $200, you pay it. And they're like, well, you know what? That didn't go through. Can you send us 200 more? And next thing you know, you're into the thousands. And again, same thing. They're going to ask for payments by gift card, Bitcoin, anything but a normal or accepted way of payment. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Give us a call. We've had people do that plenty of times where we get phone calls. Hey, you know what? This person just called me. They asked me this. Is that legitimate? We'll tell them yes or no. We've had people bring in pieces of mail. Can you look at this? Tell me if this is legitimate, yes or no. And one other thing before we go, so you don't have to look up a phone number and open yourself up to risk. when you get your statement from your bank, just hold on to one of them. That'll have the legitimate phone number on it. That way you don't have to go to Google, look it up, and put yourself at risk for finding a fake phishing website. So with that, I guess we're going to open it up to some questions. I hope you all learned something today.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you meant, I know you mentioned something about checks, but I'm not sure if I missed this part. But we have an HOA member that mailed, we have two, one that mailed cash in his mailbox, and then one that took mailed a check to pay a bill, and somebody got that information or got those checks and made blank checks out of them and sent them. Can you talk about that a little bit? Or
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. Real quick, I just want to show you something. When we talk about gift cards, this is an actual stack that we've had. Okay, there's 37 gift cards here. This person spent just about all day going to get gift cards, and this is just half of the gift cards that they actually bought, scratched off, and sent pictures to the scammer. That's just how good they are. Now, as far as the checks go, that's check washing and check cloning. So we're seeing two things here. When you write a check to a business, what the scammers will do, or their suspects will do, is they'll go to that business knowing that that business normally receives payment by a check. They'll open up the mailbox, they'll take the check out, and they'll do one of two things. They'll either, one, they'll wash it. That is, they'll erase your name and put in their name. And then what they'll do is they'll go and they'll mobile deposit it. So we don't know where they are, right? Or what they'll do is they'll take that check, then they'll go over to Office Max, Office Depot, something like that, and they'll get blank checks. And they will have software that'll make a fake check that looks just like yours. Then they'll find someone with a fake ID. The couple cases we had, they were finding homeless people over in Myrtle Beach, where they'll say, okay, well, if you have an ID, can you cash this $1,000 check for me and I'll give you $100. So who's not going to take you up on that? You walk into a bank, and then the problem is when we go to arrest someone, we're arresting the person who provided the ID, right? They got $100. The real scammer got away with $900. So that's what they're doing. They're taking that check and they're manipulating it. They either get rid of it, make it out to their name, and then mobile deposit it. And usually those accounts are either, one, hacked accounts, or two, they're accounts that were opened with a fake ID. Sometimes even a foreign fake ID. We've seen Canada a couple times. But that's a good question. I hope I answered that for you.
one part will take that to the post office instead of putting it in your mailbox.
Right.
Yep.
So sometimes, so the question was, that was if you didn't take it to the post office. We've had checks mailed from here that went to Georgia, right? And then the place in Georgia's mail was stolen. The destination is where the check was stolen, not at the origination point. We did have one where the woman actually put the check in our post office, but it went to another state. It was actually for life insurance, and that's the point that it was stolen at. And they washed the check from there.
Mail in the mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't do that anymore. I bring it to the post office, all checks that are paying bills, because they put their name into the spot that it was paying a bill, $500. My signature was there. It came out of my account. It took 30 days. This is before we all went on the internet to look at our bank accounts. Okay, this is a while ago, so I've been doing that because I'm afraid to get ripped off again. But I agree with our.
Yeah, when it happens, the first thing you should do is report that to your bank, right? Let them know what happened if that was not you. If you were scammed or hacked, the bank will usually back you up. If you actually took money out and gave it to someone else, they more than likely won't. I'm sorry? Yes, file a dispute. File a dispute with your bank.
Based upon what these folks have just said to you from experience, I'll share with you that what happened to us 6 weeks ago. Someone stole a check, relatively low dollar, but money is money, out of our mailbox. When we have outgoing checks and we put the red flag up, as was told to me, that's a red flag. And the bad people look for that. I've spent a lot more time in Detective Phillips' office in the last 2 months than I ever thought I needed to spend in a police station. And we're still trying to find perpetrators. Fortunately, and I did doing business with Truist. Fortunately, they made that money good back to us, but they did steal a check, washed the check, duplicated the check, and the number of times that they duplicated it, they took that amount out of our checking account. So that's a current experience. I found out by going to Lowe's one day, buying green beans or something innocuous, and the credit card didn't take. I gave him another credit card, stopped by the liquor store in Calabash. That was for Hanukkah, it wasn't for me. And theirs didn't take either. On my way back home, I said, since I'm doing business with Truist, I'll just stop by and see John Killam down at Truist Calabash. He got me on the phone, or gave me a phone number, and I called the Truist hotline, which happens to be in Whiteville. Very quickly, they said, that's because your latest bill has not been paid. I said, impossible. I pay them off every month. Getting with them, getting with Tracy, we find that someone had stolen the checks, used the auto deposit from their iPhone, and they're still out there somewhere running around with some money. So it happens. It happens right here at home. So bottom line is, as we just heard, anything that's of value goes directly to the bank.
And on
I'm
our
sorry,
end,
to the post office.
on our end, we're having to do search warrants for each account. These results aren't instantaneously. We have to wait for months at a time to get this. This has been going on since what? This is two months now. So yeah, and I've just received some results. If you don't mind me. Okay. They can't find the account. They can't find where the deposit's been made. We know it's been made, but the bank can't provide the information for us. So the other thing is, unless you're out money or you have given your personal information to the scammers, you don't need to file a police report. We get these every day. People are being scammed daily or attempted scams. So as long as you're not out anything, you're good. Don't give them your personal information, your birth dates, your address, bank account, nothing, and you're good to go. These scammers are very well trained. They sit in classes for hours at a time learning this craft. They're out there to take your money, and they're going to get it. They're going to invest time. These romance scams, I don't know if any of you have been scammed by the romance scams, but they'll put in a lot of time, 6 months or better, before they start asking you for money. But just be careful out there. Go ahead.
Card readers, I got scammed twice on
Right.
buying gas,
Right.
once in Charlotte, once here. But you don't know that there's a device.
Yeah, you have to look real close. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you on that one. I can't tell you how many times my card has been skimmed at a gas station. But like we were saying, the first step, especially if it's a credit card, that's how you pay for gas. That's how I pay for gas. Call the credit card company. They cancel the account. They send you a new credit card. Yeah, it takes 5 to 7 business days. Usually it takes like 4. But that's what you do. That's that first step. Exactly. But each activity from the start point, which is what they can track it back to. I've actually personally have never called the police for a skim. You're talking about a credit card skim. Yeah. You scanned it thinking you were doing something, and then now you've just got a fraudulent purchase in Arizona. But I'm with you on that one because it's so frustrating. But call a credit card company back immediately. Once you realize it, even if it's the next day, they'll cancel it. Usually, and like we said with the other side where it said specifically to use credit cards, they almost immediately put that money back in your account unless you're reporting this every day, right? Like if they've got some questions about you, then they're not going to put the money back. But if it's not something that normally happens, they put the money back, they cancel the account, and then they send you a new credit card. That's what you want to do every time. If you want to call us afterwards because you have lost money, that's fine. We're happy to take that report. But that first step is always call your financial institution. And one of the other reasons why is a lot of the times if you have been somebody that's gotten a credit card, it's called a skim, where they have taken your information and made a fake credit card out of it. If you've been skimmed, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they'll send you like, hey, here's 6 months of LifeLock free. Like you keep track of your stuff because they've got, how many customers that they've got to keep track of. And it's great, right? You have the option at the end of the 6 months to sign up and pay for it yourself, or you can say, yeah, we're good. 6 months was great. But that's a good thing to point out. Good idea. Yeah.
With skimmers and traveling, are the RFID features on wallets, is that good protection, or is that, I always make sure everybody has that. That's what everybody gets for Christmas. Is it effective?
I've got a wallet that's RFID. I want to say that it's effective, but who really knows, right? I honestly, the technology is there for a reason. But as we've been trying to say, these guys sit in classes to do this. They come up with technology to beat your defense technology, because their end game is just to always apply their enormous amount of intelligence to the easiest way to make a buck, right? Imagine if they did that for good. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, right now it seems to be working, but once they figure out how to beat RFID, there'll be RFID 2.0. I don't know, but it's a good thought to have. For sure. Yes, sir. Right here. He's got a microphone. Hang on.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. There you go.
I was a couple minutes late, and I was just wondering, you were talking about paying bills and everything. Is it a mistake to leave your envelope to the company you owe money to in your mailbox?
Yeah, we want to try not to do that.
Okay.
You just spoke about this. When you put that little red flag up on the mailbox, you even said that that's a red flag for them to say, hey, you know what? There's something in there that I want. So yeah, our best idea is to start moving away from that and bring it to the post office instead.
Thank you.
Post office and to mail a check, if you will, we ought to go into the post office and mail it inside, because there have been experiences where people have been caught with a mouse trap with a sticky material on it, hooked to fishing twine, tossed into this outside big mailbox, trying to catch something just out of the mailbox. Now, as a matter of fact, down at Ace Hardware, when you mail something there, you can hardly get your hand down in the mailbox, and the fellow is there watching it. So, but we don't send anything out of our mailbox anymore.
Like we said, imagine if they put that intelligence to good use, right? I think we had a couple of questions over here. Yep.
Yeah,
Ross?
I just had. Do you have any guidelines for using Venmo or Zelle, and security versus, I don't know. It seems like we're using it more and more. And I know if you use it with people that I'm not going to send, via Zelle to a scammer. But what are your guidelines for that?
I actually can't answer it because I don't believe in any of that. You won't even find me with a banking app on my phone because I just don't trust it. So I'm going to pass that one off.
Yeah, so just be aware that there's also number spoofing software out there. So if someone hacks into my computer, my phone, or whatever, I call someone, they could trap that phone number and make it look like it's coming from my phone when in fact it's not. You know what I mean? Or they could hack your way in there. I don't like Zelle or Venmo either. I don't think any good is going to come out of that. We haven't had it here in Sunset Beach, but I've had experience in the past where they actually had caller ID come up from a police department, you know, with the police department phone number. So you'll be sitting here, you get a phone call, and it'll be like, all right, I have the money to post bond. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know, because literally it looks like you're getting a phone call from the police department. That's a problem here with the sheriff's office. You'll see there's a scam going around right now with the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office. What they'll do is they'll go online and they'll look, and they don't even have to be local. They could be anywhere in the world. They'll go online, they'll find a deputy's name, and then they'll call you and say, I'm Deputy so-and-so with the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office. And yep. Yeah. 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 So just be aware that, you know, sometimes it's not a bad idea to have a word or ask the call or something that only you and the legitimate person would know. Right? You know, where did we go for Christmas last year? You know what I mean? What's your favorite color? Like that kind of thing. That way you're kind of screening the caller, especially with AI out there now. That's a whole nother Wild West thing going on. Anything else? Yes, you've been.
And he was a computer whiz, I guess. Has written books on.
There you go.
Oh, a gentleman here at Sea Trail was a computer whiz, and years ago he told me, this is about passwords, instead of your birthday or whatever, to use a short sentence like Mary had a little lamb, or random things that you would remember, but it's going to take somebody some time, and you can change it whenever you want.
Yeah, that's good advice. So understand that, do it yourself. Go online, Google your own name and see what comes up. You'd be surprised, that you would have your relative's name, who people you may be associated with, and that's not to even cover, most of us here probably have been hacked at some point. It had not been your insurance company, your bank account, the information's out there. So yeah, so that's what Detective Cavelli was talking about earlier, is try to stay away from the usual, son, daughter's birthday, stuff like that. Little sentences are great, I always use a combination of numbers, either before, middle, or after, and I know, so like to me, it won't make sense. Like I might do MI, a number, KE, and then, the rest of it, you know what I mean? I get it, but that's pretty hard to figure out. Anyone else? All righty.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Round of applause to the detectives. Thank you, everyone, for coming this afternoon. Hopefully you've learned a couple of points. I know I did.